Hey guys, how's it going? I was going over the clip of George's statement number 2, and I just wanted to make this real short because normally my videos are long and I don't want to be really long-winded on this one. I just found one little part that I wanted to clip out, and I'm probably going to do that because a lot of these clips are really long. Like this one is an hour and 11 minutes long, so for me to get all of it in there, it's going to take a while. So let's see what's going on here.
You tell me. I mean, what could possibly happen if somebody thinks that you were trying to detain this person? Will it change the outcome? No. The fact is that you're on the ground getting beat up by somebody and you're in fear for your life and you pull the trigger and, that's excusable. That's a justifiable homicide.
There. That was the piece I wanted to clip out. He's trying to get George to say that, yes, he was trying to detain Trayvon, and that never came out. There wasn't any time that George has ever said he tried to detain him. In fact, he was adamant that that was not the case at all, that Trayvon came up and assaulted him. But the one thing that I wanted to point out, and a lot of people don't seem to understand, that even this investigator, after making the statements, made it clear to George and to the rest of us that under the circumstances, George had a legitimate fear and had the right to use his weapon in self-defense regardless. And this is what the detective was letting us know. And he was trying to let George know that. He was saying, George, it's okay. Go ahead and tell us if you tried to detain him, because it doesn't make any difference in the case. Whether or not you were trying to detain him wouldn't reduce your rights to defend your life. And that's what he was saying. A lot of people don't believe that. They seem to think that if they could just prove somehow that George was trying to detain Trayvon, that would be the end of the case and George would have to go to prison. But that's not what was said. Well, let's listen again.
Standing here before it went to the ground, prior to the punch. And that can be... You tell me. I mean, what could possibly happen if somebody thinks that you were trying to detain this person? Will it change the outcome? No. The fact is that you're on the ground getting beat up by somebody and you're in fear for your life and you pull the trigger and, that's excusable. That's a justifiable homicide. Not excusable, but it's that can be... You tell me. I mean, what could possibly happen if somebody thinks that you were trying to detain this person? Will it change the outcome? No.
Will it change the outcome? He said, if you were trying to detain this person, will it change the outcome? No. You were on your back getting beat up by this guy. You had every right to defend your life. Now, this is what the detective said. This is the guy that's trying to convict George, yet he's telling George that even if George was trying to detain him, which we know he wasn't, there is zero evidence to that effect, but even if he was, it wouldn't preclude George from using the stand your ground defense. In fact, these people let him go. He didn't stay in jail at that point. They went through all these questions, and this was all the questioning, and they still didn't arrest him. So it was pretty clear that the police found no evidence that would prove murder. And this investigator was suggesting at the very most a manslaughter charge, but of course you can't charge somebody with manslaughter if all they did was defend their life as somebody was banging their head on the concrete.
That can be... You tell me. I mean, what could possibly happen if somebody thinks that you were trying to detain this person? Will it change the outcome? No. The fact is that you're on the ground getting beat up by somebody and you're in fear for your life and you pull the trigger and, that's excusable. That's a justifiable homicide.
That's a justifiable homicide. You heard him. It didn't matter what George did before. And that's what a lot of these people who swear that Trayvon is an angel don't seem to understand the law. They have no clue. If they knew the law, they wouldn't sit here and argue and make all these terrible comments on my videos, showing how unknowledgeable they are of the law.
But it's justifiable. You know, it's a felony against your person. The felony being the aggravated battery, for your life, and grabbing your gun. It wouldn't change the circumstance of what at the ending, but it would explain what led up to the ending.
So basically, he's saying it's not going to make a bit of difference in this case. You still get a walk, George, is what he's telling you. You still get a walk. You're still free to go. The only thing is we're just trying to figure out what would lead this kid to be such an arrogant asshole that he thinks that he can just punch somebody in the nose because they're following him. And so that's why this case has blown up so much, because a lot of us think that it was an arrogant asshole attitude of some teenage kid to think that he has the right to punch somebody in the nose and attack them because they're being followed. And this is a problem we have in our society, and this is something we need to deal with. It's not racism that we need to be looking at. It's this attitude of a lot of young people of all races that seem to think that they have the right to attack people just because they don't like what's being said or what's being done. And I think that this case is a beautiful lesson. You know, I'm sorry for Trayvon and his family, but I think it's a beautiful lesson for the youth to see what can happen if you do assault somebody, and be prepared to face the consequences. That somebody's going to pull out a gun and shoot you, and they're not going to go to jail for it. Anyway, that's the end of my tape. I just wanted to bring that out. I'll be making more later, but I just wanted to make this one. I wanted to go over George's statement where he's reenacting just on the he's not doing the reenactment, but it's just the audio, and he's laying out the time frame, because when he's laying it out, his time frame matches perfectly with my map time frame, and then he starts getting confused, and his confusion is very obvious, and because of that, it matches beautifully with my map time frame video. So I wanted to bring those two together and show how he was confused, and how his confusion has no bearing on the case or on the facts of the case. Whether he was circled here or there makes no difference, and whether he remembers it this way or that way, no difference. So we'll talk about that later. Good talking to you guys, and we'll see you soon.